Hi, welcome to my second video where today I'm trying, I think it's rhyme. I hope it's not rhythm. I think that's the other one. I'm drawing Rhyme and Shiki from one of my favorite video games as a kid, The World Ends With You. To be honest, this was the most unplanned drawing. It was like 9 p.m. I knew I wanted to draw something for the channel, but I didn't know what, and so I started doodling, and then I ended up recording it, and I honestly didn't have any intention of finishing it, but I did. Yeah, but because I didn't plan it, I had like a lot of issues. Like, I forgot to draw certain things, the inking wasn't as fun because I just wasn't in the inking. The line art wasn't as fun because I just, even the sketch wasn't the way I wanted it to be, so in the end the line art ended up looking really sketchy and really sketchy, and yeah, I just ended up experimenting with a lot of things, but I do like the finished result. I'm happy I did it. I definitely knew when drawing that I wanted it to be a picture, like photo, like someone was taking a photo of her and she was smiling at the camera or something like that, and I almost like drew the photo and then I would have there's no word for that word. I would have moved it so that it looks like someone's looking down at a picture on their phone, and I was gonna like have tears on the phone, because if you've played the game you know what happens to this character and you'd understand. That's all I can say. But yeah, I didn't end up doing that. I ended up drawing Shiki with her because they're like the only two female characters and I wanted them to be together. And yeah, I just ended up making it look like a Snapchat photo and like a boba date, and I enjoyed it. It was fun to just mindlessly do on my free time. But yeah, so I feel like you know what people do. I mean, it's very obvious. That's why I recorded it. I'm inking and I ended up inking. I need to stop saying that. I am doing line art and then I color and then I make it pretty. So now you know. Let's talk about this game though, because this game is one of my favorite games. It's not my favorite game. My favorite game is The Wolf Among Us, which everyone says will change when I finish The Walking Dead, and while I don't disagree, I doubt I will like The Walking Dead as much as The Wolf Among Us. I don't think people know me as well as they think they do. That's not the point. The point is this game is great, and we're going to talk about it. So, if you've never played this game, it's a DS game. I know, unspoken these days. What is a DS? I don't know. All the rage is to Switch. It's stupid. It's basically a DS, guys. It's an expensive DS, and I would rather just have a DS. So this game's called The World Ends With You, and I think the first time I played it was when I was 12, and the second time I played it was my senior year of high school. And I love this game. Basically, the game is about this guy named Neku who wakes up in an alternate universe of Tokyo where people can't see him, and he figures out he has died, and basically these guys called the Reapers have collected his soul and have deemed it fit for possible revival, but in order for him to get revived he has to play their game. And so he wakes up and he has this timer on his hand, and every single day the timer is going to reset, and he meets this girl named Shiki, who you'll see shortly, who partners up with him because they end up getting attacked by these monsters, and she tells him that they can only have the power to stop them if they decide to make a pact together to be teammates. And so he doesn't know what's going on. He's super confused. The monsters are coming for them, and so he agrees, and they get their powers, and after they finish the fight, she basically tells him, we've died, and we have to play this game for 7 days in order to possibly be revived. So every day they have a new task, and then the last day they have to defeat the game master. And if they run out of time on their timer on the task, they will die. They'll basically get erased is what the term is, but they'll die. And so they end up meeting, Shiki and Niku end up meeting a few other people that become important later on. And so one of them is it Rhythm and Rhyme? It's been a long time. And so Rhyme is the girl, and then Rhythm is this guy. He basically is being her big brother because she's really young. They're not related, but that's how their dynamic is presented. And then they meet a few other guys, and it's honestly a really good game. It's definitely the subject matter is definitely a bit too intense for a 12-year-old, but honestly, I got into worse stuff as a kid, so I was kind of used to that kind of thing, of just the theme of death and revival and just mourning, because the big reveal at the end of the game is just like heart-wrenching. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of hidden meanings in this game. I really enjoy it and highly recommend it. If you've played Kingdom Hearts, you probably have heard of it, because they pop up in Kingdom Hearts 2. So not the second game, I mean as well. They pop up in Kingdom Hearts as well. I don't know what game they're in. I know I played the demo, and I know I hated it, so I didn't buy the game. Which I know is, how dare, but Kingdom Hearts just makes me motion sick, honestly. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyways, but yeah. And it took me forever to be able to play this game. I remember as a kid, we had this rule. Among many, we had this one rule where, like, if a game was not unwrapped, if it was still in its packaging, untouched, that we couldn't play it because my dad hadn't played it or my mom hadn't played it, and they couldn't be able to tell us if it was appropriate for kids our age, because this is before, like, you can go online and look up reviews. Like, you could, but they just didn't, I guess. So yeah, I remember growing up and just, I think from age 8, maybe 9, to age 12 or 13, I was just reading the back of the game over and over again, because I was too scared to open it because I thought I would get grounded. So I didn't look at it inside or anything like that. I just read the back of it and stared at the art and looked at the videos on Amazon. I would like go on Amazon for hours and watch video game trailers for games I wasn't allowed to play but really wanted to play. So I would do that. And then one day I just got sick of waiting because I felt like my dad was never going to play it. And I was just like, hey, can I play this game? Like, it's been sitting in there for 3 freaking years. You've not opened it. You've not touched it. And I technically can't play it until you do. And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And I was like, seriously? That easy? So, like, moral of the story, don't be afraid to ask for stuff, because sometimes people will give it to you. But yeah, so I played this game. I very much enjoyed it. Really quickly from the get-go, I knew technically if my parents had played this game, they wouldn't have let me play it, because back when I was a kid, like, stupid and hell were bad words. And like Neku at one point was like, what the hell is wrong with everyone? And I was like, oh my god, he said the word. And I didn't put the game back, because I was not going to put the game back. I finished it. I enjoyed it. I felt very satisfied, and I felt like the adrenaline of when you're not supposed to be doing something, but like, you know what you're doing isn't wrong enough for you to stop. That's what I felt. It was like when I went and watched my first rated R movie at like 16, you know? You have all this secret power. Like, I remember as a kid, I did some crazy detective stuff. Like, not even detective stuff. I was just so sneaky when I realized that at age 13, I should be allowed to watch Hunger Games. You know, things like that. However, that's debatable, but I read the book, so I felt like I should be able to watch it. So I took the liberty to do things for myself. Like, we used to have parent restrictions on our DSs, because when we got our 3DS, they at that time could access the internet. So if you wanted to, you could download Netflix and YouTube and yada yada yada. But we had parent restrictions on our internet settings. So if we went into settings to change the internet restrictions, we would need our parents' PIN. And I didn't know my parents' PIN. I didn't even know the Wi-Fi password. So it's not like I could even get it from the beginning. But I remember my sister was having an issue with accessing the Nintendo eStore. And so my dad had to enter the internet settings. And we had like a bathroom around the corner. I was leaving the bathroom and I was walking behind them. And I saw my dad type in the pin, and I was just like instantly like snap, like memorized. And then later that night I went to my room and I opened my DS and put it in and it worked, and so I downloaded YouTube and just watched so much anime. So much anime. I think I was 14 when that happened, because I developed like this sleeping schedule where like I had a bunk bed, and I would put sheets around my bunk bed to make like a cave. And my mom just thought it was because I hated the sunlight, which is true. I hated the sunlight. I was your typical introverted, hot topic teenager. The sun was sin. I hated the sunlight, but I also did it so that at night I could open my DS and watch YouTube and no one would be able to see the light. And then if someone did come into my room, I would hear them before they got to my bed, because they would have to move the sheets, and I would watch YouTube with my DS under my pillow and my head a little bit under my pillow and then my body under my blanket, so I could just slip on out real fast and then just pretend to be this sounds terrible. I would just pretend to be asleep. And so I would watch so much anime, because back then YouTube didn't have all the restrictions it has now, so you would find seasons of full-on anime in there. And so I would do this thing where I would watch an anime every 2 days and then sleep one of the days. And so I would get home, and then from like 11 to 5 a.m. I would be watching an anime. And if it was one season, I would finish it. If it was 2 seasons, then I would have to continue the next night. And then if I finished it, I would go to sleep the next night. And if I didn't, I'd stay up the next night. And I had like anime list, and I was just watching all the anime. And then at the same time, that's when my dad actually that's when my dad actually started to let me watch anime. So he started texting me these lists, and so I would watch what I was allowed to watch on the TV during the day, and then watch what I wasn't allowed to watch at night. I'm sorry. Mom and Dad, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But I had to. Like, I was so sick of being that kid that just didn't know anything and was just... I know you shouldn't be ashamed if you don't watch certain things or if you're not connected in certain things, but I think as a kid, I had a really hard time making friends because I couldn't relate to people. Like, people would talk about Taylor Swift or like this song or this crazy thing that happened, and I just wouldn't know. And I got so sick of not knowing that I took it upon myself to learn. So, yeah. But anyways, I'm pretty much done with this drawing. This is me just adding the Snapchat effects. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I think I forgot to record the part where I actually added like the sunglasses and freckles. That's like my favorite Snapchat filter. My favorite. But yeah, I did that, and then I realized I forgot to draw her skull on her t-shirt, so I fixed it really fast. I separated the layers this time in reminding of our last video. So I was able to fix it really easily, and then yeah, I just saved it, and that was what I did. And that's my story. That's how as a kid I did things I wasn't supposed to do, in the most harmless fashion. The kids smoke, the kids drink. I literally just stayed up all night watching anime, and that was it. Like, literally, it was just like Sailor Moon and Tokyo Mew Mew and like a few adult shows, but I was all the better for it. I became like a prominent member in anime club in high school. Anyways, if you like this video, subscribe, let me know what your favorite game was when you were a kid, what you did behind your parents' backs, and how you got your parents' passwords. I just got lucky. Did you sneak through their computer or something? I have to know. And feel free to follow me on my socials. And thank you for watching. Have a good one.